You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to stand here like this so people know what the name of the.
So they know what's going down.
You know, this is the No Fear podcast. This is the only marketing that I do. I don't have a fancy background like you with a whole like
They know what time it is.
Protect your nation. Dude, it's so good to see you again. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. It's good. It is good to see you again. It's always good to do stuff, man.
It's crazy because we live so close to each other, but we don't see each other. It might have something to do with the lockdowns or how busy you are, but you know, we'll do some stuff. So listen, my audience. I mean, you know who my audience is, but I'll say it again because like this goes out around the world. And we got people from all over the place checking us out, but mostly public safety, first responders, military law enforcement, CrossFitters, martial artists. But a lot of people who I think would be interested in your background, your story, and that's why I wanted to get you on the No Fear podcast officially. But for people who don't know who you are, because you're very active online, and I've reshared a bunch of your things, and we've worked on a couple of projects together, so people would know your name and know of your company through me, and when I've shared your stuff. But we're stuck in an elevator, Byron, and we may be here for 2 hours or 2 days. But what's your 2-minute elevator speech? I'm Tony. I don't have a job. I'm unemployed. What do you do, sir? What would you tell somebody in a couple of minutes?
I develop high. Sorry, can you guys hear all that? Go ahead. I think. Sorry, that was distracting. No, I set up security plans and put teams in place to protect high net worth individuals, and I also have a training company that helps civilians and first responders understand how to protect themselves and their families.
Beautiful.
That's the
Wow.
that's the real. That's a shot. That's just
I just learned a lot here. I got to change my volume here real quick, because that was like, you should be if all of this Protector Nation stuff doesn't work out, you should be a DJ, man, because that was so sexy and smooth. Leaning into like, I'll teach you how to protect you. I have a specific set of skills. That was great. That was great. I love that. One thing that's always fascinated me about you as I've gotten to know you is you're like a fucking sponge, man. You love to learn. You love to study. You love to research. Now your background, just, you know, you don't have to go crazy on it, but let's dig a little bit deeper on your background. What do you think set you up for when you retired, when you left the military? Mm-hmm. Like there's a lot of guys, and I know a lot of them, who go out and they become entrepreneurs, but what they're selling is their understanding of a technology or methodology. So it's like, hey, like I did this, let me show you how to shoot. I did this, let me show you how to do surveillance or driving, whatever. Mm-hmm. Your messaging is different and bigger than that. Why? What happened in your life that because you're an entrepreneur, but you really also care about people. Not that these other guys don't, but it really comes across.
Put it all out, like I put it out there. It's funny because you asked it was like two questions that really connect to each other at the same time. You know, like first of all, I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Tony. I respect you. I look up to you, and it's an honor to be connected with you. You know, in this life, you know, it's like, hey, I did some things that were cool enough to give me an excuse to hang out with people like you, man. So it's kind of tight. The other thing is, you know, you mentioned that I'm like a sponge, and then you're like, you know, what's the deal with all these other things that you present in your brand that really show more of my heart and who I am on a really genuine level? It's funny because it really comes down to the fact that I'm just really not that tight. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't a Navy SEAL. Yeah, like I didn't Green Beret, you know, master level anything. You know, I'm like 5'10". I'm like 250 pounds, 230, you know, in the summer. And just kind of, kind of cool, but not that impressive. I got some cool tattoos, man, but I was Marine Corps infantry. No one cares. Yeah, we fight in wars, but no one cares, right? They pay attention to this. If you're not a SEAL or recon, which no one even probably knows what recon is half the time in the civilian world, either you're a SEAL or you're not, kind of.
Right.
So then I'm sitting here looking at like, yo, I want to get into, I want to influence the world. Like, how do I make a positive contribution?
Well, let me interrupt here, and because
Yes, sir.
we like what I'm getting at is a lot of people don't sit there going, I want to do something in the world. I want to influence people. Like that's a in the conventional scheme of things, that's a grandiose thought.
It's quite a lofty
right?
thought. Yes,
Know, so was it something in your upbringing, your parenting? Was it some leader in the Marine Corps that said something to you and you went, fuck, that blew my mind, and that stuck with you? Was there
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a high quality question, man. You're digging right in. I love it.
My question's here for you, bro.
That's awesome. No, I think for me, it was just that knowing that I was not that like I was like a fat little black kid, like had the ADD thing going on, and dyslexia stuff. And then I've always been a protector by nature organically. And I had to work really hard to find value in myself. And after I found that value in myself, I started to be like, well, geez, like I can stop suffering in the world. Like other people can find the same value. Like if you look at me and my brands and you think I'm cool at all I want you to know is you can do this stuff too. You got to fight like all hell, but you can do it, and like there ain't a dang thing I got that any normal other person with enough determination and resilience can't get, because I never thought of myself as that smart or that amazing. And now I know who I am, and I know I have things because, I've gone on a journey to acquire them for myself. So I think unlocking that moment in my life where I was like, yo, you can start from, lower middle class, immigrant from the Bahamas, join the military and as an infantryman, and then turn into an entrepreneur and do something and like look in the mirror and like yourself because you keep yourself in shape and feel good self-esteem because you're working on yourself. Like for me to walk around with those gifts to show people and be like, you guys can have this too, it's like the greatest honor. And then like Iraq and getting blown up and like a whole near-death experience or whatever that was gave me this whole kind of new way of looking at life where I'm like, yo, I have to be very deliberate. The biggest tragedy was I was dying at 18, 19 and was like, I haven't even lived yet. I've not been deliberate for a single moment of my life ever. And then I opened my eyes like Michelangelo or says, I opened my eyes only to see that everyone else is asleep. And I got people over here mad about they didn't put enough ice in their Starbucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm sitting there like, yo,
that shit pissed me off, man.
It's a miracle. How, like we're living, man. Live, So I think that fire burns inside me every day, man. I just want people to wake up to the miracle that is life. I want them to know how to protect themselves and their families. I don't want to see the things that I love in this country be overran by evil, because I've been in a country where I've seen that happen. And I've lived that happening already. And, I know my contribution is to multiply protectors in the world to make the world a safer place. And so, yeah, man, those are the things that drive me. And I don't have the Navy SEAL thing to fall back on. Not that Navy SEAls are dope, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I'm not a tier 1 asset. So like I have to make my contribution multidimensional and relatable to people. So I'm human in front of you on the camera, which that's my secret weapon. I ain't got nothing else cooler than that, and that's everyone's secret weapon. And that's whatever I want everyone to know, you know what I'm saying? Because they all have it. There's a journey to unlock it and then implement it in your life,
That is a very elegant and eloquent explanation of all of that. And I love that you said that you've always been a protector organically.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Was that just something like as a kid, if you saw somebody being bullied or something happen to your sister, your mom, or whatever, you were like that? When I'm coaching people in our self-defense protocols, I talk to them about the very specific type of anger that I call indignation. Indignation.
Ignition.
That indignation is that how dare you act?
Righteous, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Was that just something that was just like you would see something and because a lot of people, what they do is we've talked in depth about my approach and system for fear management is they see something and there's a moment where you know what to do, and then the movie of fear. What if I get sued? What if I lose? What if I die? What if this is the wrong decision? What if I embarrass? Now that movie becomes what's playing in your mind. And I always say, like, courage whispers in your ear, intuition whispers in your ear, but then fear says, I don't want to get involved.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, and that's exactly how it works, that's exactly how it works. All the way up to like hitting houses in Iraq, you still have that plays in your mind sometimes every once in a while. For me personally, I'm convinced after interviewing all the folks I've interviewed too, there is a such thing as, and you can learn it, but there is a such thing as like protector DNA or warrior DNA or something, because I've always known I was a warrior, and I'm like, I might not be that cool and I might catch a beat down, but this just ain't gonna happen with me in the room. Like I'm gonna defend this human, and you're just gonna have to deal with me. You might be more popular than me in third grade, but I'm gonna try to whoop that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I would get into situations where I was always leading, I was always defending, and I was always somewhat combative. Thank God I joined the Marine Corps and and sent that in a positive direction. And I've spoke to enough people now where I'm like, there's something, that's why I say protector by nature and by trade. Like some guys, he could be at a paint shop, working at the paint shop, but you try to do something in the paint shop, that'll be the guy that you got to deal with, because I think people, there's like a DNA out there. Now people can get there through trauma as well, or they can have it taught into them. But I think some of us have just always been part of this like brotherhood, man. I see it as like a sacred brotherhood,
Right. No, I dig this, and I'm glad we're talking like this conversation. It is real. I'm excited to get it out to my audience because sometimes when you look at just what is the quick fix flash that is Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, like you get the, hey, what's the filter of the day to make somebody look cool, and it's important to know the substance. Your tagline, protector by nature, protector by trade.
Yeah,
like that's a cool tagline, but unless somebody hears you say, I wasn't cool, but I was the guy who in third grade, if you were bullying that person, I was going to be there, whether you kick my ass or not, I was still going to be there. I was going to, right? And I think that's important to know the story behind the message. So you alluded to something, and it was actually one of my questions here. You're one of the people who's, I hate the term influencer, it just is like, just because of
buzzword,
what it means in many areas. But you're one of the guys, you're very active online. So you're in that influencer category.
Which that's an honor.
but you're one of the guys, one of the few people that actually is totally transparent online. In other words, you'll repost like a stupid meme to make people laugh, but then you'll also, at the potential detriment to your brand, post something about the politics and stuff like that. And I have huge respect for that, because there's times when I don't post a lot online. I mean, I do like once a week, once every couple of days, but like you're firing shit out all the time. And sometimes I go, I want to share this, but I don't want the fucking drama and the fucking
alienation, possibly.
Yeah. And so I have a ton of respect for you to do that, but like I'll call them handlers to make a joke, but your team around you and stuff like that, do you get this like, hey dude, like posting this thing about politics right now is not helping our
bottom line.
The bottom line, or like, why and I know you're the guy that goes, fuck it, I'm doing it. But talk to me a little bit about that, because there's a lot of people out there, especially in this cancel generation, that are going like, no, like, like this is our brand. But you're all over.
Right. I thank you for asking me about that and recognizing it, man, because it does take some balls, you know what I'm saying? Especially these days. So for me, my goal with Byron Rodgers, my primary Instagram is, this whole thing is a life, for me, it's a life brand. So like, I refuse to fake anything. Like, I'm going to be not even, I refuse to silence myself. Like, I'm not going to be completely belligerent about things, but I really want this to be a brand where my tribe and the people that I impact are people that are like, no, I know who Byron is. I know what he stands for. And that's my guy, or I can't stand this Byron guy, but I'm following for kicks. You know what I'm saying? But that Byron Rodgers page is Byron Rodgers. And it's going to be unapologetically Byron Rodgers, and I felt definitely the heat from different, even like sponsors and investor type situations, where they're like, well, I know they're looking at my page. I know they're looking at my page, and we'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, when it comes to that brand, it's like, I have nothing if I don't have my authenticity. And now I feel like it's almost even more of a Patriots responsibility to speak out, because we're losing a lot of ground in a lot of areas, and arguably, right, in my opinion, due to people being so reasonable and quiet. Like, you're just like, okay, well, and the water just gets a little bit hotter. And it's like, well, where's the line going to be? Homie, the line should have been, you kill the dragon when it's small, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? You catch a little bit of disrespect, you just react then, and it just stops the whole thing. But you can't reason with ridiculous, and I don't negotiate with terrorism. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when you start to notice that water's getting turned up, let's talk about it. So I'm trying also to lead and show people that, hey, you can have an opinion that you disagree with people, and if they get triggered, that's their business, and it's not the end of the world. So I feel like if I'm not brave in that way, then man, all the other business owners and influencers and everyone else who's already keeping their heads down will absolutely never do it. And they won't do it because I'm doing it, but maybe, I can shine a light that'll influence some people, because we're losing a lot by just not even having conversations, in my opinion. And then the catalyst is, I make a lot of moves quickly. So like, I might post something and you hate it and you think it's stupid, but in like the next week or in 10 days, it's buried by 800 different other moves that I'm making. Because so if I make a mistake, I'm moving so quickly that it's just like I'm staying in the OODA loop of everything. So I'm like, I'll make 100 moves inside of a few months. So it's kind of like factored into everything I'm doing. I'm not even worried about it too much. I'm just learning from it and improving my shots. That's the other way that I kind of hedge against that psychologically. So the mistakes are getting buried in my wall in 10 minutes. The other thing is, I have multiple brands. And so the other brands like Protector Nation and Bravo Research Group and the League of Executive Protection Specialists, that's just pure brand stuff. You want to hear from me, you come to Byron Rodgers, my page or my website, and I'll be, being authentic there.
That's cool, man. I dig it. Great answer.
Thank you.
How long ago did you start the whole Protector Nation executive protection programs and all that?
Man, wow. This is really the first year of all of this. So they say overnight success takes 10 years, and they are 100% correct in my experience, right? So before this, I've been like a little duck in the water working, my little feet were going underwater, just trying to figure out how to gain traction and how to build an online business. And I had a lot of experiences, which many people would just call failures. Like your boy's been a part of, like, I've probably launched like over probably around a dozen different companies and tried to get this type of thing to work. And so I think that's also given me an edge in a lot of ways with regards to a lot of the guerrilla kind of marketing tactics and things that I use, because I've like had all these gurus and bought all these products and tried all these things already. So I know a little bit about a number of different things, but everything that you see here now is really about 1 year old. The first symposium was last November.
Sweet.
Yes, sir.
Very, very cool. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's that new, but like you said, people don't realize, it's like all the graphics of the tip of the iceberg. You don't see what's floating under the water.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see the duck's feet running around, and people don't realize, like Sunday I was writing out stuff for classes this week and coming up with new drills and going, oh shit, I can't wait to show them this and do that. And like, I've been doing this for 43 years and I'm still getting excited by, oh, here's a new drill. I can't wait to show this to the students.
Right.
So, the message there, or the observation there is, and it's tricky also, because I made the joke about for almost for free, you can pop up online and make it look like you're some big wizard, person, because there's the right filter and there's the right app. And,
right.
But there's a difference where the cosmetic, the facade might be new, but if there isn't like the 10 years, the former Marine, the protector by nature, the third grade kid going, that's wrong, I'm going to punch this kid in the face, right. And all of that. But people don't realize, and I get that a lot in business, because in many ways, what we're doing is similar. We got digital education, we got live education, and a lot of times people come and they'll see like a picture of you on the range shooting, or like a cool, like a professional photographer. You got you're the one of you like walking in front of a private airplane and going, and what they see is they see the image and they go, oh, what do I need to do to get that? And they don't realize the answer is you got to work your ass off.
Yeah.
They think they're
just get a little lucky.
Listen, we can go deep on the luck thing. I don't, and this is maybe semantics for you, but I don't believe in the good luck, bad luck shit, in the sense of that doesn't mean I won't use the term like, oh, wow, that sucked. That was bad luck. But I look at it at more if something happens that there was absolutely zero influence or control of yours, and it was good or bad, it just happened to be like I wrote an article for Medium years ago about good luck, bad luck. But I said, like, because people would always say, they would look at, let's say, a picture of me on a trip, doing something with somebody cool, and they go, hey, lucky guy,
that one is
like, is that a button?
It's short-sighted. It's real short-sighted.
Yeah. And I'm like, and I'm trying to explain to people, like, good luck, bad luck is you decide to have an outdoor wedding and it rains.
Right.
Like, because you can't control the weather.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's equity that comes from hard work,
right?
Dedication, earning stripes, like building a brand brick by brick by brick. That's what that is.
The thing, Byron, is like if you go look, if you go, hey, I've between 10 and 15 times I tried to start a company and I fucked this up, or I had the wrong partner here, or this deal didn't come through, or and then finally you do it, it's and it looks like overnight for people. But the two things I want anyone listening to this to realize, if you're thinking about investing in yourself by investing in another person's process, and I said that on purpose, deliberately that way, because if you decide, oh, I'm gonna get certified and teach Tony's Spear system, or I'm gonna get certified and teach Byron's program or whatever,
right?
If you don't have the intellectual capital, like the fact that you have a business card, nobody gives a shit. Like there needs to be substance in you. So
yeah,
but
no, that's huge, man. I agree, and I see some of these influencers where I'll look at them and I'll watch them work, and I'll look at their video and I'll be like, there's just not a lot inside of them. There's not the depth, you know, and that was one thing I never wanted to be. But then also, you know, even out in my work doing executive protection stuff and moving around, I stopped listening to music with words like 2011 for the most part, just because I needed to focus. Like I just woke up one day and was like, look, Eminem, I'm not mad at my mom. Okay. Like that's your problem. You know what I mean? Like, and then I was like watching TV and I was playing and I just kind of was like, I need to get smarter. Like, I'm not that smart. Like, I'm going to freaking fail. Like, I'm going to be a kind of cool dude who like makes people laugh sometimes and was a really nice guy. And I'm going to die. And then there's going to be nothing, you know, and it's going to really just suck. So I started to be like, I must get smarter. And this individual capital word you said is where it's at. And I learned that the best investment you can make is in yourself. And so I started listening to audiobooks, like just every minute I had that I would be playing music or doing some boyish stuff. I just started listening to audiobooks because I knew I wasn't that smart. And then I started to be able to connect more dots. And then I started to have higher quality ideas. You want a higher quality life. You got to make higher quality decisions. Higher quality decisions come from higher quality information. I learned that problems I thought were the end of the world, I could listen to somebody who had a higher perspective and I could elevate my perspective. Nice. Tell the measure a man by measure of his problems. So that one thing you said, it has so much weight in every area of life. I don't care if you're working at Safeway. That whole investing in yourself thing, I think it really makes the difference. And if you don't want people to feel like you're kind of light when you speak, that's a great way to change that.
Yeah, I dig it. What's wrong with Safeway, man? You got a problem with Safeway?
No, I love Safeway, bro. Safeway, dude, I'm just saying, I don't care.
I know. We're gonna get.
Cool.
You know, there's like 9 people that listen to my podcast, and like 9 of them are going to be offended by that. And right.
Yeah, I meant no disrespect. I mean, you know, wherever you're working, executive protection, Safeway, you know, post office.
Let's talk without it sounding like an infomercial.
Yes, sir.
I think what's really cool about this is when you hear somebody's story like you've shared today, you know, it creates a different level of rapport and trust. But without it sounding like an infomercial, because you've got the live courses, you've got the live online, like the symposium you did, and you've got the digital. How do you break them down when you're describing them to somebody? And for somebody listening to this, because you've got the 2 main divisions, and they're very similar. Like, so people who are familiar with, you know, we have our Essentials of Personal Safety, Be Your Own Bodyguard, which is for like, hey, you're an entrepreneur, your mom, your dad, you're not interested in going to jiu-jitsu 5 times a week and rolling with somebody. You're not interested in boxing, getting punched in the face. You just want to know, how the fuck do I avoid danger? And then there's the other people go like who have that, like the warrior DNA. I teach self-defense. I'm a martial artist. So I've got those 2 verticals, right? And you've got those 2 verticals. You have stuff for people who actually want to professionally be, and then people who go like, and it's probably one of the reasons why we vibe so well is my Be Your Own Bodyguard message is just that. But there's way more someone can learn beyond my 1-day course, right? There's like, okay, what is this and I've lived that lifestyle forever. Well, you know, where you know, we take the kids to Disneyland back in the day. You know, and I'm the one like watching all the freaks and doing this and exhausted at the end of the day, and everyone's like covered in cotton candy and stuff because they're oblivious to any risk or danger from shit in the parking lot to where we're going to park, to remember we're going to repark to. And so talk a little bit there about the 2 audiences and the programs, so that people listening can go, oh, yeah, I'm going to go check that out. But again, without it, and the only caveat is that it doesn't sound like an infomercial, which you don't. Just that whole and I'm being blunt and transparent. I don't think my audience.
No, I dig it, man.
You know, for $99, if you call now, I'll send you a Q knife set.
Right. Yeah, no, man. It's it's just exactly how you explained it. My mission on the planet is to make the world a safer place by um helping good people to be more dangerous, to be more willing, capable, prepared, to be protectors, you know. Um, so it's really kind of that protector by nature and by trade, you know, for the people that just realize that they need to protect their stuff. You got basic human needs, food, water, shelter, but this art of protection is like a basic need because otherwise your stuff just becomes my stuff. If you can't protect your stuff, right? Or whoever the bad guy, the warlord of the moment is. For everyone who's into that, there's the protector nation, which is, you know, law enforcement, you know, military, first responders, but also civilians, responsible civilians. And those assets, we're going to have a digital layer where people can really get certified as a protector. So we're going to start tabbing people out. They're going to get the protector tab and things like that. This is the first time I'm talking about it. That's why I paused. I was like, okay, I'm about to share this with Tony's crowd first. But yeah, you're going to be able to go through a digital learning experience and then get tested out at facilities in your area and like actually learn skills, hands-on skills and psychological skills, hard skills and soft skills around making you a protector. And then we're going to go up in different systems and things like that and different tabs for different things. But that's for everyone. And then for private security professionals, people that want to get into executive protection, the more bodyguard situation, which is the 1% of the private security industry. But the private security industry is blowing up. It's supposed to double in the next 10 years. And it's like one of the top 5 careers that won't be replaced over the course of this next technological evolution we're having in the world. But then I have the online curriculum, Executive Protection Training Day Success Package. You get to join the League of Executive Protection Specialists, which is a high-powered network that brings opportunities. And then I coach you on a almost weekly basis over Zoom meetings just like this on into the future until our careers are done. We do our careers together. And so that's for the people that want to do executive protection with all the they think it's jets and nice hotels, which it is, but it's also putting car seats in the car and walking and going to get coffees and, you know, just all around trying to be a socially relatable, cool guy that makes people feel safe, really, and does a good job at it. So, yeah, man, that's my division of kind of offering to the world. It's all protection centric. I want people to be able to be formidable and able to protect themselves and defend what they love.
I love that. I love that. Okay. I'm trying to think, is there one question you wish somebody would have asked you on a podcast that hasn't been asked yet? And if so, what is that?
Man, that's interesting. I mean, you've asked some great questions. What do I want? I think really for me, man, the main thing I want people to know about me is just that I put myself out there. You know, I'm the man in the ring and I'm willing to fail in front of you guys. And I'm willing to make a fool of myself in front of you guys. And I'm willing to try as hard as I can in front of the world just to show you guys that it's doable. Like that means enough to me. So like one, I want to obviously bring glory to, you know, the reason that I'm here, which in my opinion is my Heavenly Father, you know, because I should have died in Iraq and multiple things should happen to me. So I don't want this opportunity to live this life be in vain. That's really important to me. But the other thing is when people look at my brands and they look at my contributions, I just want them to know that like, it's got very little actually to do with me, although I pop up in it a lot. I want you to look at me as a guy who just didn't really start with much to much at all, but wants to prove to you that someone can from that place. You know what I'm saying? You can stinking look good. You can feel good. You can feel confident. You can defend yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can get the girl you want. You can have the job you want. Like you can stinking win, man. Like that's all I want him to know. You know what I'm saying? And that's what my heart is, man. It gets me excited talking about it. You can build a stinking business. Doesn't matter if you don't know how. Figure out how to know how. Get it done. Like that's kind of what I'm about, you know? It makes me really excited. That's what I want people to know. I don't know what the question would have been like.
No, it's no, that's great. And listen,
you can have it.
You know, while you were saying that, I was just thinking about everything we're dealing with. politically in the world and the shit where, the small business owner is if you're a conspiracy theorist or not, like there's some serious shit going on. So there's a massive amounts of fear, even though people don't like to admit to their fear or talk about fear as fear. But I will say this, that what you do and what you're providing in many ways has never been as important as it is right now because of what we're going through. And there's a lot of people that like look at past events in history and they go, but look, the world changed, we got through this. But I like to tell people, to remind people, it's important to study history. But what is really relevant is that this is our history. This is when we are alive. And so if you're listening to this, and a lot of my audience, Byron, like I said, are those type A, let's, oh, I got to work today, but I'm going to get up at 5 and pound out a workout, right? That's that killer mindset. I'm doing this for the body. Or they are in law enforcement, a firefighter or military or retired, and I'm not here to sell your program, but what I do want to say to my audience is to check Byron out and check out what he's doing. Spend a little time on his personal page to decide whether you hate him or love him, and then go check out the other stuff.
That's real.
And then, but I've always said, that fear throttles everything we do, from who we talk to who we marry, from where we work to how much money we make to how much weight you lift to whether or not you're going to defend yourself. And the foundation of everything is our ability to manage that fear, to move towards the danger while we're afraid, because it's the right thing to do. And so to my audience, check out Byron's stuff, because if you've got that calling, I'll tell you, we are being either deliberately or what appears to be deliberately isolated, right?
Yeah.
Right. We're
polarized like crazy. Yeah.
And so we're not able to get together other than through the internet. So the fact that you've got online live Facebook groups, the digital stuff, but I'm rambling here, but I wanted to kind of wrap it, crystallize it with this thought that, it just resonates with what my life's mission has been about, Byron. And that is, you're the first responder in your fight. As much as a cop might want to come and stop that bad guy, you don't even have time to dial 911 when the shit's happening. So how do you get ahead of it? How do you get a left of bang, left of the ambush? You need to have a protective mindset. You need to understand that. And if you don't know what that stuff is, you need to get educated. And if you do know what that stuff is, and I always tell these people, like, because a lot of the type A's follow my shit. And I go, well, guess what? Your wife and your daughter and your son and your uncle and your cousin aren't.
Nothing.
The fact that this isn't for you doesn't mean it's not for somebody very close to you.
Yeah.
So, I'll put the links to Byron stuff in the show notes. But check it out. If you're, I think personal security in the next, I don't think it's ever going to flip backwards, right. But it might be, it's everything everyone should know, and B, it might be something that's a career move for you.
Oh yeah.
For this.
Great. And then what you were saying, man, just real quick.
Yeah.
Educating people on fear is like one of the most important stinking things in the world to me personally, because you already said it. The fear weighs in on everything that you do. It's like one of the most important relationships in your life, whether you realize it or not, is your relationship to fear. And now there's more fear kind of in our consciousness, to be a little esoteric, people realize, even I realize, that you post something that, fear is one of the most powerful drivers, because it has to do with surviving. Pleasure has nothing on fear. Fear gets eyeballs. I post something violent, people are eating it up, paying attention, right. You know what I mean? I post something happy, nobody cares? That's why you got fear all over your television coming through the news. You got, you know, so the human's relationship with fear, especially now, I think is one of the most important relationships in the world. Like, does it drive you or does it cause you to back away? Do you know when to back away and when to move forward? You know, so I really respect and I want to honor you for your work, man, and how deep you go into this whole thing, because it's one of the most important educations a human being can have, because they're gonna deal with it, you know, and it'll stop them from achieving their greatness, or, you know, it'll drive them right there, like it will literally push them up the mountain, their relationship to this thing. So, man, it's good stuff. It's good work.
Yeah, so true. Okay, dude. Anything you want to share? What's the, you know, I'll put this in here, but what's the best way to stay in touch with you, connect with you?
We're going to be moving as much as we can away from social media because it's communist, you know, if I could just say that. So normally it would be, you know, Byron_Rodgers on Instagram is where my content usually drops first, but ByronRodgersMotivation.com is my website. That's where you can find everything I'm doing. And then, you know, from there, you can go ahead to my other subsequent websites, but ByronRodgersMotivation.com, and on Instagram, Byron_.com. If you're interested in executive protection, you can also check out training, executiveprotectiontrainingday.com, and then protectornation.com is another website. But you can get there from Byron.
But all those links are on your main page too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, this was so much fun.
Yes, no, it was amazing. The other thing I love about you, Tony, is you're there's so many layers. Like, you're deep. I got to talk about all the like interesting stuff out here. Yeah, I mean, usually I'm on a podcast, the questions are linear, they're on like right on the subject, which is great. It's awesome. But like when I listen to you, it's like this mad scientist of like protection and martial arts and psychology and biochemistry. For me, it's just way more chewy. It's more enjoyable. Right. So you ask deeper questions. I love it, man. I really appreciate it.
I think it's important, and it's you know, I really think it's important that people see that side of all of us, you know, right. and
it's real.
You know, it's funny. I know people who are very quiet, very introverted, and then I'll catch a glimpse of them engaging with somebody or something, and I see a light and an energy emitting from them, because they've lost this kind of like concern that they're being observed or evaluated.
Right.
And now they're like fully like, no. And I'm like, holy shit, I've never, you know, I remember saying to somebody, like, I've never seen you construct a full sentence. like I've never heard you tell a joke. I've never.
Yeah.
And as soon as I point it out, I'm trying to compliment them. They're like, and it's crazy. So, right. You know, it's, I think that I don't want to say everybody, but I think most people have that. And I think that you know, one of the lines when all this stuff hit, I posted something. I said, you know, fear is contagious, but so is courage.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, use the word tribe and community, is that if we commit to authenticity and transparency and talking about fear, but fear as a catalyst to activate courage, as opposed to just like, you know, let's talk about fear. No, it's like, let's talk about fear and converting it to fuel. Then what are we doing? We're lifting each other up. We're shining lights. We're fucking getting closer. We're getting open. We're more, you know. Anyways,
we all deal with it.
This will go down a crazy deep rabbit hole. Save it for another one. Right. Dude, so good to connect with you. Anything, you know, I'll get this out, like this week or next week. So are there any thing upcoming that you want to talk about that is useful for the podcast now?
It's funny you should ask, Tony. I got a couple things. We got the Protector Symposium hybrids that are going to be coming out this year. you know, and if we're lucky, maybe you'll be joining us for one of them. We'll see what happens here.
I,
You
I would
know?
love to. You just did a live event.
Yes.
How did that one go?
We
The
did.
live training. You had
We
some
did the hard
material.
skills. Yeah, the hard skills intensive was outstanding. We had 25 guys go through 4 different modules of instruction. We had Craig Douglas, we had um, Mike Glover from Fieldcraft, Fred Ruiz, and we also had Mike Glover, Craig, Ed Calderon. And so
Okay.
we did a fusion. Basically, it was all about urban combatives, 1-man clearing, 2-man clearing, all CQB or CQC stuff.
There's some
And then,
world-class talent there, man.
yeah, man, it's high end stuff. So it was amazing. At the end of the thing, I mean, guys were shedding tears, man. We got to press the flesh. Craig Douglas put us in a box with each other and let us fight over a gun. It was amazing. So that was a huge win. The
Right.
symposiums are all auditorium style information designed to help you increase your protector IQ in a conversation with a subject matter expert. This year we're going to bring them together. So you're going to have 2 days of auditorium, and then you'll have 2 days of hands-on. So it's going to be perfect. Then we're going to hit a few locations, different things like that. So yeah, keep your eyes out for the protector symposiums that'll be dropping this year, possibly all around America.
Fantastic. Okay, man. I will help you out any way I can. And I love getting to know you deeper and deeper each time we talk. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you. You too.
And I will we'll see you soon.
Heck yeah. Awesome. Thank you for having me. It's an absolute honor.
Thanks,
Appreciate
buddy.
you.
Stand by.